In February 2026, 24-year-old South African singer Tyla stepped up to the Grammy podium to accept the trophy for Best African Music Performance for the second time in 3 years. It is difficult to overstate how long South African artists had been waiting for this kind of chart momentum. Before her breakout single hit the Billboard Hot 100, no soloist from her home country had managed to crack that specific chart in over 5 decades. The last person to do it was the legendary jazz trumpeter Hugh Masekela with Grazing in the Grass, all the way back in 1968. Historically, the path to a U.S. crossover required a series of compromises. African artists were often expected to trade significant royalty splits for a feature from an American star, or significantly alter their image to fit Western expectations. Tyla's consecutive Grammy wins represent a shift in that power dynamic. She cleared a half-century-old hurdle on her own terms, without waiting for a traditional invitation from the Hollywood establishment. The foundation for this rise was built far from the recording studios of Los Angeles, in the East Rand of Johannesburg. In 2019, Tyla was spending her weekends recording original music and her weeknights uploading covers to social media, using digital platforms to build a following before she ever had a major label contract. Her goal was specific and high stakes. She wanted to be a global pop star while keeping her South African identity central to her brand. Rather than moving to the United States to pitch herself to executives, she used her bedroom as a headquarters to engineer a grassroots digital movement that the industry eventually had to follow. That local momentum eventually culminated in the 2023 release of Water, a track that pulled over 11 million global Spotify streams in its first week alone. Her core sound is popiano, a fusion of Amapiano's jazz, house, and Zulu rhythms with early 2000s R&B. Her fan base, the Tygers, amplified this globally. Driving millions of views through choreography, they turned her music into viral data points. This sheer volume of decentralized user engagement changed the leverage in her record deal negotiations. The industry wasn't just taking a gamble on her, they were responding to an existing, massive global audience. The global saturation of Water was a demonstration of how a localized South African sound could reach the widest possible audience without losing its roots. Despite her success, the American media reception was often strained. U.S. outlets frequently labeled her confidence as attitude and were quick to question her longevity after her initial viral peak. Gatekeepers in the States often relied on a familiar shorthand, labeling her the next Rihanna to make her sound recognizable to domestic listeners. Tyla largely ignored the comparison. Even when facing backlash for identifying as colored, a term with a specific historical meaning in South Africa, she chose to stand by her heritage rather than conforming to the race politics of the American market. That defiance didn't hurt her brand, it elevated it. She moved from music charts to high fashion dominance, appearing on the Met Gala steps in a dress sculpted entirely from sand. Her business reach continued to expand through sold-out international tours and a global management partnership with the K-pop powerhouse Hive. By maintaining her cultural identity while securing elite corporate backing, Tyla showed that authentic African representation is a major asset in the modern music business. By 2026, she had fully entered her APOP era, launching her second studio album with the same level of global anticipation usually reserved for established Western icons. This represents a move toward a more independent global empire. While she has major partners, her team now dictates terms directly to international markets, no longer relying solely on American radio or PR gatekeepers for validation. Her career has established a new precedent. African artists no longer need to rely on Western features or watered-down sounds to achieve the highest levels of pop success. By rallying her Tygers and refusing to dilute her South African identity, Tyla didn't just find a place in the global music industry. She anchored a career that answers first to the culture she came from.